everyone, Nanki here. I am a South Asian influencer based here in Bali. This is my first video talking about being an Indian in Bali. I really wanted to share my experience. I've been living on the island for the past 2 years, and honestly it's been probably the most amazing time in my entire life. I've had so many opportunities here, especially being South Asian. There's not a lot of us here. Most tourists that come from India are usually going to Seminyak, Ubud and Uluwatu, but I'm based in Canggu where there's hardly anyone there. Let's just dive into this because this video is going to be super raw. I usually make videos that are super planned out and then I lose like momentum and excitement, but I'm excited to do this, so let's get into it. Okay, so number one and most important reason why you should come to Bali is because you as an Indian are probably used to eating Indian food, right? But while Bali doesn't have the best Indian food, it has really good vegan, vegetarian options. Honestly, Bali is the place to be if you have dietary restrictions and still want to eat really good, high quality food. I think one of the really cool things is that people here are really catering to the Indian clientele. They're used to having Indian tourists here, so when you have dietary restrictions, when you go on a ATVing tour or you want to stay at a hotel, it's not like you're gonna run out of options and just have to eat like toast and like something gross. They kind of know that people here have special restrictions, but the food here is really good because everything is grown here on the island. Bali is so tropical that there's a ton of really great fruit that you're gonna have in the morning. Honestly, I think the juices and smoothies are my favorite. When you come here, you have to try the smoothie bowls. Okay, so when I talk about tours, another really good point to make is that they are so used to the Indian clientele. There's certain ways that we like to travel and they know how we like things done. So it's not like we're foreign or it's like we're like a problem or like there is a struggle for them to accommodate certain things. Like for example, a lot of us are not used to the water, or we need a little bit more assistance here, or we're loud and we like to play music and we like to dance. They love that. They love the Indian culture. They really embrace it. I've been to other countries where they feel really uncomfortable around Indian people, and I've never seen that here in Bali. Everyone always joins in. I've also noticed that when I travel with like a group of white people or my white friends, they are always more excited to see me, and they're like, oh, have you seen Shah Rukh Khan? Have you seen these movies? And then I always get someone who will like pull out a guitar and they'll start singing their favorite songs, and I'm just like, this is so embarrassing, but it just genuinely shows how much they love like our culture. And it's also because like Bali is Hindu, Indonesia is mostly Muslim, but Bali is 100% like a Hindu island. There's so many similar customs between like the Hindu temples and Hindu traditions here in Bali and in India. So I think that's also a really great way to relate. When you come to the island, you'll see all the different customs, and it's interesting to see how we relate so similarly, but it's done in a different way because it's still a different culture. I really like that. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is the cost. So when you come to Bali, I say that you could have a cost, like your trip could cost between a minimum of $600–700 if you do it really tight on a budget. You're really smart with your money, or you can have really elaborate trips which can cost thousands of dollars. It's really up to you and how you like to travel. I, with Dreamy Trips, like to make packages at least $1,500. I think that's a really good budget for having the most beautiful, luxurious trip you've ever had in your life. But you have options. There's honestly accommodations for a whole wide range of budget, and then including with that is like excursions and activities. The things I say like that you have to do is like the floating breakfast, you have to go to the Bali swing, but then there's also things like your accommodation is the most important part because it'll make the experience. So don't just stay somewhere basic. Like definitely spend a few days staying somewhere where you've probably seen it on Instagram and it looks beautiful. It's worth it. You spend a lot of time in your accommodation compared to other places where you go sightseeing and you go look at different like I don't know, like in Paris you go see the Eiffel Tower and you go do all of these different things. In Bali you come here to relax. You don't do anything. Like make an itinerary where you have time to just be free and disconnect and be quiet and just like here, this is a beautiful place. I'm at the Kamandalu Hotel in Ubud, and I just did the floating breakfast. I'll show you guys a few clips, and I'm gonna go for a massage, which is gonna be here, and I'm just gonna chill for the whole day. That's kind of how Bali is done. So you're gonna want an accommodation that's really nice and comfortable for you. But again, if you're planning your trip, book your trips with Dreamy Trips. I will hook you up. Your girl's got you sorted. One more thing I want to say is that when it comes to cost, accommodation is probably going to be the biggest thing that's going to occupy your budget, because everything else is pretty affordable. All your excursions are pretty cheap depending on what you choose, or you can just spend days at the beach. There's some beautiful hidden beaches in Bali that you've got to go visit. There's also beach clubs, so again, you can make it really fancy or really simple. It's how you like it. As someone that's been staying on the island for 2 years now, I generally try to stay on the cheaper side because I know how to like plan my way around things. But if I'm coming to Bali for the first time, I think it's definitely worth enjoying yourself here a little bit. Your first trip to Bali means a lot. I also say that whenever you come to Bali, whatever you come looking for, Bali will return that to you in 10 more magical ways than you could have ever imagined. So whatever you think Bali is right now, it's going to be absolutely insane. I hope you're excited for this trip because it's literally going to change your life. Okay, so now going back to talking about being Indian, I always get sidetracked. One of the really cool things about, well, pre-COVID, one of the cool things about traveling to Bali was that the visa situation was pretty easy. Now with COVID coming around, I'm a little concerned about how people are going to travel. So we're still staying up to date. I'm checking with immigration and seeing what the latest updates are. But I hopefully think that by July, we're going to have an update on who's going to be able to enter the country, if they're going to need vaccinations or not. So I will keep you guys posted on that. But before, one of the main reasons Bali was so popular for Indian travelers, it really was just visa on arrival, which is great for 30 days. And then you pay a little bit of money and then you can stay for an extra 30. So you had 60 days in Bali if you really wanted to, which is a lot easier to sort out rather than going to other island destinations where you have to get your visa sorted and it's just so complicated and you don't even want to bother dealing with that. Okay, now I think we're on number 4. I've lost track, but one thing I really want to point out is that I say Bali is made for women, right? I say Thailand caters more to the male gender, while Bali is made for women. It's feminine, it's safe, it's really, really friendly. But I think one of the really cool things is that Indian women love coming to Bali because this is our chance to be free. Like, I was in a bikini all day and I'll walk around on the beach and I feel safe and comfortable and confident. I don't have people making me feel uncomfortable or people watching me, even the workers. I remember my cousin came into town once and she was like, Nanki, you're riding your scooter, you're wearing a bikini, like, aren't you worried like they're gonna feel like they're just gonna judge you? I'm like, no, I think Bali is a place where they understand that the tourism here is their main industry, and they respect, like, especially women, because they know we're going to be the main source of their income. So it's not even just that, but also Balinese people are really respectful. They're really, really great, especially to Indians. I rarely ever see any issues happening. So this is a really great place for women to come escape India for a couple of weeks, enjoy themselves, relax, and feel safe and be comfortable wherever they are, honestly, especially women that are traveling solo. I've done Bali solo for 2 years now. There's so many other women here doing it solo, so I definitely recommend Bali. Honestly, any reason to come to Bali is a great reason. I do want to say though, being Indian, I've always embraced our culture. I know a lot about the Indian culture, and it's interesting to see how it's almost being gentrified here in Bali, but not by the Balinese people. It's more about like the Caucasian people that come to the island. There's like kirtans going on, and I'm like, this is the most bizarre thing I've ever sat through, and I'm like, I feel uncomfortable going to a kirtan hosted by a guy named John who's singing music that's basically country music. So that part is a little weird, and you kind of just get used to it. Honestly, I'm just always in the back giggling because it is the funniest thing. I find it hilarious. So you're gonna have experiences like that where you're gonna see so much similarity, where people here are trying to embrace a spiritual lifestyle, but it's like stuff that we've always done growing up, just gentrified at an insane level. So if you're here, you have to go try kirtan. Actually, don't even bother trying it. What am I saying? But it's hilarious to watch. But one thing I really want you to try out is an ecstatic dance session. That is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen people do. It's cool if you like it, but I think it's a little different. I think it's a little forced, but I still think it's something interesting to try out if you have the time. It's a little novelty for me, but that's just my experience, right? Like, everyone has their own opinion. Some people love it. Sometimes, honestly, I really get into it when I can, like, really embrace the music, but it's a little weird. Anyways, go try it if you have the chance. Okay, so I guess this video is just an intro to my experience. There's honestly so much more that I can talk about. I genuinely want to say that I love Bali. I love my experience here. There's no other place I'd want to live because Bali is honestly the best combination of my lifestyle that I had in America and the lifestyle I love having in India. It's the best of both worlds for me. So it really couldn't get better. Sometimes, especially now during COVID, I miss going to India, but because I'm here with a place that is so culturally enriched, I definitely feel closer to my Indian roots than being in America. Like, there's so many different types of people here. India is so embraced by everyone. When you come here, I genuinely say stay a month because that's when you'll really get to experience Bali. When you're here for 2 weeks, you're gonna be a traveler, you're gonna be a tourist, so it's gonna be a different experience for you. But generally, across the board, you're gonna love it. As an Indian, Bali is a great place to be. Also, not only Bali, but there's a ton of other islands you should definitely visit as well if you have time. The Gili Islands, Lombok, they're all worth checking out. So if you have any other questions, drop them below. This is my first real video, so let me know what you think. I'm super excited to make more. I love you guys. I love seeing people come to Bali, especially as Indians. Come to Bali, hit me up, let me plan your trip. Let Dreamy Trips take you on the best trip you've ever been on. I'm excited to see you here. Bye guys!